Tomorrow is the last day of voting for the Academy Awards, and that also means that the campaign furor has been going on in Los Angeles for several months now. Everyone campaigning to have their movie at the top of the docket. It's coming to an end, so for all of you getting ready to place those office betting pools as to who's going to take home an Oscar next week, we're going to give you the inside scoop on what the season looks like. That's Gitesh Pandya is our guest right now. He's editor of the BoxOfficeGuru.com. So you're the guru. It's been a longer season here, right?
Right.
What's happening in terms of campaigning? Is it fiercer competition this year because it's a longer season, because of who's up? I mean, you've got the Avatars, you've got Hurt Locker, a lot of buzz about these movies.
Right. Well, it's been very different this year. First of all, of course, the Best Picture race was expanded from 5 to 10 films, so that means more contenders out there campaigning and spending a lot of money trying to get those votes. And then you have, of course, the Oscars being 2 weeks later on the calendar because of the Olympics. They didn't want to compete with that. So it's a longer season. Usually the season starts around September when the Toronto Film Festival kicks underway, and then all the way through to now. And so a lot of the contenders are really just getting over it, saying, let's finish it up. Voting ends tomorrow. In the Best Picture race, there are 3 films that are really in the thick of things. There's Avatar, there's The Hurt Locker, and there's Inglourious Basterds, which is going to try to get an upset there. But outside of those 3, the other 7 have been trying to get some sort of a lift at the box office or on DVD sales from their Best Picture nomination, even though they know that they have no chance of winning.
Right. What does that nomination do for you in terms of the correlation to ticket sales, to DVD sales?
Well, it does a lot. I mean, sometimes people say it's an honor just to be nominated, and so for some of these films, that's exactly what it is. They have no chance of actually winning, but it makes the film a higher profile movie, either on DVD. Some of those movies were already out on DVD at the time the nominations came out, or if they're newer at the box office, more people want to see the film, so you can get more screens, more media, more interviews, and so on out there. And of course, it means more in the international markets. Some movies are just getting started right now overseas, whereas they're playing out over here. So there's a lot of upside to get.
It was interesting on 60 Minutes last night. They had that profile of Catherine Bigelow, who made The Hurt Locker, that movie about the Iraq War, facing off this year for Best Picture against her ex-husband, James Cameron of Avatar. A great little drama within the awards itself. I mean, tell me, what has the campaign season been like around that?
Well, drama is an understatement right there. I mean, those two, the last time those two faced off, there were divorce attorneys in the room.
Right.
So this time around, it's a very different situation. It's actually much friendlier. Cameron has publicly been saying that he would like to see Catherine win the Oscar for Best Director. No woman has ever won it in the 80-plus years of the Academy. So that's one thing that's going for her. There's a big factor there to get her that. I think there's a chance that picture and director might be split. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, where maybe Catherine Bigelow gets director, a different movie gets Best Picture. That certainly could happen. And you, of course, have Harvey Weinstein behind the scenes of Inglourious Basterds. He's not going to give up without a fight.
And that studio needs a win. He needs a win right now.
They need a win. They've had a lot of credit difficulty in the last 6 to 12 months or so. So a big win here. It was already a box office hit worldwide, over $300 million in sales. Having Brad Pitt certainly helps a little bit. And whether they can pull off a win at the Oscars is another story. But, you know, with Avatar grossing now $707 million domestically, $2.55 billion worldwide, that makes it a big contender for the Oscars too, where the voters might say, you know what, this is a groundbreaking film. It's never been seen before. We're going to remember this 50 years from now. We should give it Best Picture. And also, even if it doesn't win right there, it's going to boost the ratings. And the ratings have been sagging for the Academy year after year.
Well, that's what surprised me, because I was looking at a piece in the New York Times talking about Ad Age, saying that the price of commercials during the Oscar telecast is the same this year as it was last year. They're looking at between $1.3 million and $1.5 million for a 30-second spot.
Right. Well,
so that's just a function, I would guess, then, of where we are economically. If you're telling me, you know, you get that much more bang for your buck if you really think viewers are going to be there.
Well, I think so. I mean, last year, Slumdog Millionaire was kind of the odds-on favorite to win. It wasn't a big shocker. We kind of knew it at the time. It was a smaller profile picture. This year, it's got, you know, it's a couple of weeks later on the calendar, so it's different than having it in February sweeps, which is normally where it's been the last few years. So that has an effect also. But with Avatar pushing some of the ratings in there, I think that ABC certainly will help, because outside of the Super Bowl and sometimes the American Idol finale, the Oscars is arguably one of the biggest TV draws of the entire year. So that's a big chance for them to rake in some money on the advertising side. And the Academy, too, needs a boost on the PR side, too.
Right. Well, tell me where we are on the weekend box office sales. Shutter Island seemingly holding in place for yet another weekend.
Right. Martin Scorsese, his films rarely ever hit #1. This time it's 2 weeks in a row at #1, $22 million, up to about $75 million in 10 days. A terrific performance. It's ahead of The Departed. That was his last film and his highest grossing movie
fabulous.
of all time, and an Oscar winner, of course. So that's doing very well. Overall, the box office is up. The top 10's up by more than 30% versus last year, which is another good sign. And attendance for the year is up a little bit over last year, partially because of the 3D sales of Avatar. And that movie just keeps on going and going. It's at #4, 11 weeks consecutive in the top 5, and 11 weeks straight at #1 overseas.
Yeah, surprising. I saw Shutter Island. It's sort of advertised as a horror movie, and it's not. It's just a little bit spooky. So
yeah, it's a psychological thriller. Yeah.
It is. Thank you so much, Gitesh.